Now, I will present some very practical ways you can actually transform your reality day to day. Transform your reality. The art of self-mastery begins with the ability to consciously shape and embody your own reality from within, while influencing the experiences and circumstances that unfold around you. Life is not accidental. It is both an individual journey and a shared human experience. Through inner alchemy and the continuous transformation of consciousness, thought, word, and action, you possess the power to create and redefine your reality. Though the world presents countless external actualities, the reality you live and embody ultimately belongs to you alone. Transform your consciousness. Live your reality. Here are some fundamental Rosicrucian and Hermetic principles. All is one. Everything and everyone are connected. As above, so below. As within is as without. Everything is mental. Mind is everywhere. Natural law is the basis of our universe. Understanding and living in alignment with these principles will make life's experiences in actuality and reality more peaceful and productive. Being a student of the Rosicrucian philosophy can easily be reduced down to learning and understanding natural laws and how we can use and live in alignment with them. Here are just some of the natural laws that really affect our actuality and reality in this universe. Everything in this presentation should relate back to these fundamental laws. Everything has rhythm and cycles. Everything is vibration. Everything is changing. Everything is connected. Actuality and reality. Within the Rosicrucian tradition, a meaningful distinction is made between the concepts of actuality and reality, recognizing them as related yet fundamentally different aspects of human experience, and for that matter, all conscious living entities. Actuality represents external conditions and events, while reality reflects one's inner perception and conscious experience of them. Actuality is shared by all, where reality is uniquely shaped by individual consciousness. Actuality is what exists around us. Reality is what we consciously create and experience within ourselves. These two concepts are often used interchangeably, but represent different aspects of human experience. Actuality refers to the conditions, events, and circumstances that exist independent of our personal interpretation. It encompasses the observable world, the facts, measurements, physical laws, and external events that can generally be shared and verified by others. Actuality includes both what is visible and what may be unseen, yet still observably present. It is shaped by actions, language, knowledge, science, technology, and the governing principles of nature. Reality, on the other hand, is the personal experience we create from actuality. It is the internal lens through which we interpret events and circumstances. Reality is subjective, influenced by our past experiences, expectations, beliefs, understanding, wisdom, hopes, fears, and limitations. Two individuals may encounter the same actuality, yet experience very different realities because each person filters events through a unique framework of perception. Understanding this distinction is empowering. While we may not always control the actualities that arise in our lives, we possess significant influence over the reality we construct from them. Growth, self-awareness, and conscious reflection allow us to refine our perception, reduce the influence of illusion and limiting beliefs, and align our personal reality more closely with a shared actuality. In this sense, self-mastery involves learning to navigate actuality wisely while consciously creating a reality that supports understanding, purpose, and fulfillment. When it comes to your personal reality, understanding the difference between internal and external perception is key. Perception is the lens through which we experience and interpret the world. While actuality presents us with events and conditions, perception determines how these events are understood, felt, and integrated into our personal reality. At the most basic level, perception begins with our physical senses of sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. These senses gather information from our environment and provide the raw material from which our understanding is formed. Yet perception extends far beyond sensory input alone. Our past experiences, memories, or even personal fabrications influence how we interpret what we encounter. We often see the present through the filters of the past, comparing new experiences to old patterns and expectations. Likewise, our fears and hopes can color perception, causing us to focus on threats, opportunities, limitations, or possibilities that may or may not accurately reflect the situation before us. Knowledge and wisdom also play an important role. Knowledge provides information and understanding, while wisdom helps us discern meaning and apply that understanding appropriately. As we grow in experience and maturity, our perception often becomes broader, deeper, and more balanced. Rosicrucians also recognize the role of intuition, sometimes called a psychic sense or inner knowing. Intuition can provide insights that arise beyond conscious reasoning, offering impressions, guidance, or awareness that complement our rational mind. Beyond intuition, perception may include personal spiritual truths, those principles and understandings that resonate deeply within our individual's inner experience. For some, perception is further expanded through a sense of connection with higher self, universal consciousness, or what may be described as the cosmic, or communication with the master within. Together, these influences create the unique way each person experiences life. By becoming aware of these factors that shape perception, we can gain the ability to examine our assumptions, refine our understanding, and consciously participate in the creation of our reality. The more clearly we perceive, the more accurately we can align our inner experience with truth, wisdom, and purpose. The distinction between the concept or terms mind and brain have been contemplated by philosophers, mystics, and spiritual traditions throughout history, as well as the more materialistic approach of psychologists, doctors, and scientists in modern times. For the sake of this discourse, and with a focus on the esoteric, I will briefly describe my distinctions with mind and brain. The brain is a physical organ. It belongs to the body and functions as a biological instrument through which we think, perceive, remember, and interact with the physical world. Like the rest of the body, the brain is temporary and subject to the natural processes of birth, growth, decline, and death. The mind, however, may be understood as something greater than the brain itself. In this view, mind, or consciousness, is not merely produced by the brain, but expresses itself through the brain. Just as a musician uses an instrument to create music, the mind utilizes the brain and the nervous system to experience and navigate physical existence. From this perspective, the body becomes the avatar or vehicle of consciousness and a means through which the mind engages the world of matter. The body and brain are uniquely suited for this particular incarnation, providing the experiences, challenges, opportunities, and lessons necessary for personal growth and development. While each individual experiences life through a unique personality and perspective, the deeper nature of mind may be viewed as fundamentally unified. The limitations we experience often arise not from mind itself, but from the filters of perception, conditioning, beliefs, and sensory constraints through which consciousness expresses itself. As awareness expands, these limitations can gradually be transcended, revealing a greater connection to others and to a broader field of consciousness. In this understanding, the journey of self-discovery is not merely about improving the brain or body, but about awakening to a deeper nature of mind and learning to express that awareness more fully through the life we are living. The body may be temporary, but the quest to know the mind and its true nature remains one of humanity's most enduring pursuits. Now let me briefly move on to some philosophical areas that also influence our perception and reality. Truth in reality is a never-ending philosophical discussion as well as an individual moving target. Throughout history, philosophers, scientists, theologians, and mystics have sought to define it, understand it, and live in accordance with it. Part of the challenge lies in the distinction between actuality and personal reality. While actuality may contain facts and conditions that exist independently of us, our experience of those facts is filtered through perception, belief, knowledge, emotion, culture, and personal experience. As a result, what one person accepts as truth may be questioned or interpreted differently by another. Individually, we gain new experiences, acquire deeper understanding, and expand our awareness. Our perception of what is true may evolve. Ideas once held with certainty may be revised, while new insights emerge to replace old assumptions. Ultimately, the pursuit of truth invites us to balance objective observation with inner wisdom, critical thinking with intuition, and certainty with curiosity. Truth remains one of humanity's greatest quests, a journey that continually challenges us to see more clearly, understand more deeply, thus allowing us to navigate actuality while evolving our personal reality. Hope and faith are two of the most powerful forces that help us deal with actualities while supporting our personal reality day to day. They provide the inner strength that allows us to continue moving forward when certainty is unavailable and when the path ahead is not yet clear. Hope is the vision that a better outcome is possible. It inspires us to persevere through difficulties, setbacks, and periods of uncertainty. Hope allows us to see potential beyond present circumstances and encourages us to continue striving toward our goals and aspirations. Faith, while closely related to hope, reaches even deeper. Faith is the trust that there is meaning, purpose, or order beyond what we can immediately perceive. It is the willingness to proceed despite incomplete information and without the assurance of guaranteed results. Faith gives us the courage to act when certainty is absent and to remain steadfast during times of challenge. Ultimately, In our personal reality, hope gives us a reason to move forward, and faith gives us the strength to take the next step. In Kabbalistic philosophy, reality is shaped by our perception or perspective. One being's good may be another's bad or even evil. It goes back to what is actually happening versus what they or you see or feel is happening in your or their reality. Time and space are among the most fundamental aspects of human experience. They provide the framework through which we organize our lives, understand our surroundings, and make sense of events. Yet both concepts are deeply connected to perception. Both time and space exist as aspects of actuality, providing the structure within which physical events occur. At the same time, they are experienced through reality, the personal and subjective lens of perception. In this way, time and space serve as bridges between the objective world and our inner experience of it. That being said, one's perception or reality of time or space may be different from others' perception, and thus, esoterically, may be insignificant in one's personal reality, and even some may say that time and space are not part of actuality, and everything is now and here all at once. In reality, we do not always perceive actuality as it truly is. Instead, we often experience life through conscious or subconscious filters that can alter, distort, or obscure our understanding of events, circumstances, and even ourselves. Here are just a few things that may be a factor in distorting actuality and personal reality. Fear and ignorance, denial of our reality, hope or faith, not ready to face the actuality, expectation or assumption, drugs, alcohol, or brain-altering chemicals, mental health, group or culture movements or thought, and even what I would generically group as brainwashing, like hypnosis, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, repetitive exposure, charismatic leaders, marketing, etc. The answer is to accept these as strong possibilities of which could influence your perception and reality. Be aware that your perception or interpretation of actuality and reality could be distorted or inaccurate. Throughout life, each of us encounters limits, obstacles, and blocks that seem to stand in the way of our growth, happiness, or fulfillment. While some limitations arise from external circumstances, many of the most powerful barriers originate within ourselves, often consciously, but just as often at a subconscious level. At some point in our lives, they may have served forms of protection, helping us cope with fear, uncertainty, disappointment, or even emotional pain. Self-examination is essential. The goal is not to judge ourselves or criticize our past choices, but to honestly assess why these certain limitations exist. Resistance to change is significant as it holds us back from progress and new opportunities. Ask yourself, are these psychological protections or choices still necessary? Some may have outlived their purpose and are ready to be released. New personal truths or realities may require us to let go of old assumptions and expand our understanding and see life from a broader perspective. Actuality has much potential in our physical world, but it is up to your reality to make things happen inside and outside of yourself. Live with the ideal mindset of infinite potentiality. Anything is possible, but some things are more probable. Now we will explore how mind can influence actuality. Your awareness, observation, intent, and actions can change and influence actuality through your thoughts, words, and actions. If perception shapes reality and our choices influence our experience of life, then we are not merely passive observers of existence, we are active participants in its creation. Creating your actuality begins with contemplation. Before meaningful change can occur, there must be awareness. Taking time to reflect allows us to examine our beliefs, perceptions, desires, and intentions. Through contemplation, we gain clarity about what we truly want and what may be limiting our progress. The next step is to choose. Every day presents opportunities to make decisions that either reinforce old patterns or support new possibilities. Conscious choice is one of the most powerful expressions of personal responsibility and self-mastery. Once an idea, direction, or outcome has been chosen, it is important to visualize the desired outcome. Visualization focuses attention, aligns intention, and helps establish a mental framework for success. At the same time, it is important to release attachment to rigid expectations. Life rarely unfolds exactly according to our plans, and growth and opportunity often arrives through unexpected pathways. This is why we must focus on what is within our control. We can manage our attitudes, decisions, efforts, and responses. We can reduce risks where possible, learn from pain rather than being defined by it, and remain open-minded when circumstances change. Challenges often contain opportunities that are not immediately visible. Ultimately, transformation requires action. Thoughts and intentions become meaningful only when translated into behavior. As we act, we learn. As we learn, we reassess. And as we reassess, we adjust our course. This ongoing cycle of learning, adaptation, and action allows us to continually refine our path. Creating your actuality is not about controlling every event in your life. It is about consciously participating in the unfolding of your experience. By choosing wisely, remaining adaptable, and taking purposeful action, you become a creator in actuality, as well as the life you live and the reality you experience. The process is simple, though not always easy. Contemplate, choose, visualize, release, act. Then learn, adjust, and continue forward. This approach is fundamental in personal growth and consciously creating or adjusting actuality. Be mindful of what you choose because it may manifest in a form of which you do not expect. Throughout life, there are moments that seem too meaningful, too timely, or too perfectly aligned to be dismissed as mere coincidence. These experiences are often described as synchronicities or serendipitous events, unexpected occurrences that appear to connect with our thoughts, circumstances, needs, or aspirations in ways that capture our attention. These are opportunities, experiences, and relationships that continually present themselves for our growth and development. What may initially appear to be an accident or mistake can, with hindsight, reveal itself as a turning point, a lesson, or the beginning of an unforeseen opportunity. Synchronicities invite us to pay attention. They encourage us to become more aware of patterns, possibilities, and connections that might otherwise go unnoticed. This does not require abandoning reason or critical thinking. Rather, it calls for an openness to the possibility that meaning can be discovered in unexpected places. Being open-minded and attentive allows us to recognize opportunities as they arise. It helps us move beyond rigid expectations and become receptive to possibilities that may not fit our original plans. Pay attention, remain open, and be ready. Sometimes the next step in our growth arrives in ways we never expected within our personal reality. Understanding and transforming your reality is your superpower. Influencing actuality in alignment with natural law and divine will is your magic. Understanding actuality in your personal reality is just the beginning. Taking the next steps and actions for changing or transforming your perceptions, knowledge and understanding, blocks and repeating patterns, and anything else within your reality is solely up to you. Make your choices and start the work. This is a continuous process in life. Be okay with what you do not know in actuality or reality, but do not stop there. Your past experiences, good and bad, made you who you are, but they should not define you or the person you want to become. Embrace your past, all of it. Transform the bad experiences into wisdom. Transform the good experiences into love. Like an alchemist, don't throw anything out. Understand it and transform it. Wake up and open your mind. The awakening process allows you to see the materialism of actuality while embracing true actuality, the all, mind, source, cosmic, as one, thus allowing you to shift your perceptive reality to infinite potentiality. Creative, open minds see new possibilities. Here are some basic tips for transforming your reality. Question everything with an open mind. Know that your reality is not completely shared by anyone else. Actively engage and learn from others, assuming your reality could be distorted, incorrect, or limited. Be actively conscious in your actions, thoughts, and communication. Practice continuous reflection, meditation, and adjustment. Make a choice, shift your thoughts and actions. Relationships and interactions are important since we do not live alone in the world of physicality. Start by acknowledging your reality is different than another's reality. Move to a shared understanding of the interpretations of the actualities. Attempt to create a mutual acceptance of the personal limits and variances in your realities. Communicate and compromise in understanding. And understanding or acceptance of someone's perspective or personal reality does not mean you are agreeing with it. Respect others' realities through honest and respectful communication and interaction. And of course, be kind to each other. Here are some important tips to move forward past some downfalls of complacency, assumptions, and social programming. Engage and challenge your reality. Question everything. Evaluate the whats and whys. Continue to explore and learn. Establish new agreements and understandings. Employ knowledge and an open mind. Live life. Don't let it live you. Transform consciousness to not more of the same, but new thought. Embrace the now. Put aside limits, fears, and boundaries. Reestablish your agreements, past and future. Acknowledge your limited knowledge and understanding. Make a choice or decision to move forward. Practice and test these principles repeatedly. How does all this fit into the 7 alchemical processes of life as they relate to transforming your reality? Everyone may not understand these 7 alchemical processes that will allow you to transform your reality into happiness, compassion, and peace profound. Embracing these processes as something you may need to do, learn, or experience will help you to progress with the transformation of your shared actuality, as well as the transformation of your personal reality. Let me just run through these processes briefly and how understanding and applying these processes will help. Calcination. Your ego must step aside. Know that you are not always right in actuality. This may come nicely or by trauma. Dissolution. Reality should be validated with your heart and compassion for others and yourself. We are all in this together. Separation. Use your consciousness and critical thought in assessing and adjusting your reality. Reasoning is essential as actuality interacts with reality. Conjunction. Balance your heart and mind with clarity and understanding. Mind, heart, and brain are your realities. Fermentation. Acknowledge and release your fears, limits, and consider new experiences as opportunities. Don't miss out or get left behind. Distillation. Refine your perception and adjust your reality continuously. You are never done with your reality. Coagulation. Be okay with not knowing and not always being right. Live and adjust your reality daily in oneness. Be happy and in peace profound. And yes, you're never actually done with these transformative processes, as you may need to loop back to learn or experience something you missed or were not ready for at the time. This concludes my presentation, and I hope you all found some practical, useful tips for transforming your reality in your daily life.